There used to be a commercial on called "Can You Hear Me Now?" Can you hear me now? Yes, I'm on. May I present to you the finished picture of Loki, the god, the trickster god from Warframe. I hope you like him. He is highlighted, and I don't know about you, but I feel that he kind of looks pretty good, if you want my honest opinion. And again, this will be up the highest donation as soon as I'm starting up with the bits. And in the meantime, it's available at artfinder.com. Paul Sandilands, my name, which you will see him there for sale. If you love him and like him. It was an absolute panic to do. I really, really enjoyed him, and I'm happy he turned out about as perfect as I wanted. There was one final little thing I wanted to do with him, and that was put a little bit of shadow in this little area here. Show that these little scuffs and whatnot on his armor were from battle or whatever. Just see now. Yeah, that did it. Okay. That was the last thing I saw that I wanted to do. And it has been completed. Again, there he is in all his glory. There he is. See him. That was an really fun project to do. Now, the next project I'm starting is Ares, god of war. I'm really looking forward to this. And one of the reasons I'm looking forward to it is that, as you can see here, we have gold, and we have gold actually in shadow, but it turns it a richer gold. This would be more like an 18 karat gold, 24 karat gold. We have silver, metal, through here. This is gold, this is gold, these are gold back here. We have armor through here. Everything you want to know about doing metal is in this piece. And I like to start on the top. Actually, I think I'll start in the top left hand corner so you can see them. And I'm really looking forward to getting this look with the eyes for Ares. Penetrating. I'm a god stare. So what I've done is I have sketched him out. That over there. This is my sketch. I sketched him out, and this is where you start. Take your sketch that I do on, usually about 50-60 pound paper, and I transferred my sketch over to the gray paper, which is 9 by 12 of Strathmore illustration paper. And as you can see, it's a detailed sketch, and it's in graphite. I transferred it over, I did it in pencil, I transferred it over in graphite. I didn't do any of the shading on the sketch. It's basically just, there's a few corrections I put in through here and whatnot, but basically that's the sketch, and I know exactly now it's all mapped out. Made my notes on the secondary sketch so I know where I'm going with it. And I think he looks good. It'll be fun doing him. What else? Just see. When I transferred it over, I did happen to see my pencil and make a little note here. My transfer paper moved on me slightly when I was doing it, transferring it. So I think what has happened here is that this area up here is over here, and this area over here comes in right here. You can see it moved a little bit, and that's where it moved. Which really doesn't matter, but just so I know the line. I mentioned Staedtler. I did the drawing with Staedtler pencils. It's still, as far as I'm concerned, the best pencils ever made. Bar none. I use them exclusively, and I've never really found anything that is a better pencil, frankly. Just looking at some of the lines. Yeah, everything looks good. Okay. Checking out the other sketch, the mapping. Yep. Change. Put down. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Don't mind me. I'm simply double checking. Anyway, double checking, making sure it's all right. All right now. Now, as you know, the first thing we're going to do, as with every other drawing, is going to, if I could find my kneaded eraser, which was here. Yesterday. There. Over here. Well, I don't know where the kneaded eraser went, but I'll use my electric eraser to get that one. There's one line there that I have to get out, but anyway, I'll take care of that later. Right now we're going to start with this. And that being said, this is God, I really like this character. He's got everything. Everything that allows you to really just have a ton of fun. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's start. So the first thing we're going to do is that is do the under painting, which I'm doing with. Are you kidding me? Fresh green? Oh, okay. Called. Oh yeah, this is the manga set. Sorry, I've added a couple of colors to the manga set that I needed, so that's why that's there. Yes, I've got them all. Okay. Enough talking to myself. I'm sorry if it's art talk. You know, I'm talking to the choir, which is me. The first thing we do is we're going to use the Touch 5 markers. If you've been watching every video that I've ever done here, you will know that the Touch 5 markers, we better get a bit of the glare down here. Let's just see. Bit of the glare out of the way. I hope you can see the hot lights. These are Touch 5 markers. They're Touch New is the company. They are not Copic markers. I don't use the Copic markers to do underpainting. And that's them. That's the length of them. Okay, so about the length of a pencil. There you go. And I use these because underpainting, you don't want to use your Copic markers. At least I don't, because Copic markers are expensive. And yes, you can refill them, and yes, yada yada yada, but the bottom line is that no matter what you do, it still works out to between $5 and $8 a marker. These markers are on about $1 a piece. And the colors are really good. As I think I said before, I've got a regular set, and I ordered and bought a manga set as well. And the manga colors are a little different than the regular Touch New, so they've got different colors, and that's kind of what you want. And for instance, I have a color here called Marigold. Just going to give it a little try there. See what it dries to. Yeah, Marigold's good too. But I think I'm going to go with the I have no idea why they call it fresh green. I mean, this is one of the problems I think you get with the cheaper markers. Is if you can see that it says fresh green on it. I think you can quite see it, but anyway, if you can see, it says fresh green, and my art eye cannot detect any green in this at all. And it's dried now, and it's a yellow that I want, so it's going to go on as the bottom for the gold. So what I'm going to do is start in here. Maybe it'll show a little bit more when least we forget. We cover up our hand with the clear plastic. And as you can see, you can see through the marker. Normally what I do when I transfer it, I have it much lighter if I'm doing something else. But with this, I tend to leave it dark because most of it gets covered in this marker. So I can see the lines better. And this is kind of a complicated line drawing. And there's lots of detail, in other words. I want to make sure I'm following all the detail that I figured out this afternoon when I was laying him out. And I don't think that except for a couple by moving. If you're ever doing transferring, for God's sake, whatever you do, make sure you get your transfer paper so it doesn't move. And in saying this, that's exactly what happened to me today. And it moves a little bit, and the consequence of that is I have to get rid of a line or two. Now, I don't mean to say that it's a huge deal. It isn't, but it's annoying when you're trying to get lots and lots of fine detail. That'll do that there. Go for a lighter look on the other side. Look good there. I go this lighter gold look here. Well, and I'm going to go with the lighter gold look here. This is the outer horn that comes out. I'll bring that right to about there. He has a chain down here too that I carefully drew out. And I'm going to put that chain in like so. Chain comes around like so. Oh, and absolutely down here. His armor goes into gold again. Darker gold. I get down here. That darker gold. And friends, Romans, countrymen, I will also be doing it over here. There. That darker gold. Back to Command Central. Now, as you can see, these markers really do take on color very well. Very well, I must say. And they do an excellent job. And again, thank you to my tech guru, Scott, for helping out with with all the technical issues that arrive from doing this broadcast. And I'll be honest with you, without Scott, there would be no broadcast. Because honestly, I am an artist. When it comes to all of this technology, I mean, don't get me wrong, I know how to use Photoshop and do all that kind of stuff. But this is much more involved in Photoshop, in my opinion. It's, and without him, it wouldn't happen. One of these days, if he lets me, I'm going to let you see some of his artwork. He does some lovely stuff. Now, his lips are really kind of gold. I know there's lots of light on them. Don't get me wrong, but they look kind of gold. I'm gonna put some of the undercoating down as well, underpainting down as well. That colored, which I'll leave out. I think what I'll do, because this turns into even darker gold color, this color I was just saying to use, marigold, give me a nice base over here for the darker gold. Dun, 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 dun. And by the way, last night I got a tip called Solid Snake. What an interesting character he is, and I'm going to be doing some preliminary sketches on him and seeing if indeed I can do him. It was from one of the people watching, and I can honestly say that I was impressed with the so maybe coming to a drawing sooner than you can imagine. Ta-da-ta-da. There's some there. Rest of the gold chain become. See, over here is that tones the gold there. And then I'm going to get into some brighter color. Bright, I mean, again, the Touch 5 marker. Gotta be from South Korea. They spelled canary yellow wrong. Call it Canaria yellow, okay? Alright. Truthfully, it doesn't make any difference to me as long as the color looks good. They do good work over there. I've seen some Korean artists. The thing I admire about the Asian artists is how they and I don't mean the ones who do the traditional Chinese art, etc. What I'm talking about is the ones that are have been trained to do like European style art and whatnot. I mean, really and truly, they're extremely well trained. They and the people, especially Chinese artists, they have done. Some of them are doing remarkable work in oil and especially watercolor. It's it's truly it's amazing how well they do. But it's not the traditional art that they do. But that being said, they embrace it. And I've seen some remarkable work. And it's nice to see because, well, for a warhorse like me, who was classically trained, the reason I like to see it is because it means that there's still places where they teach more traditional art, or the traditional ways of doing it. So you've got like oil painters and whatnot. And really, for me, that really is gratifying to see, because I had a student here on Saturday. She's one of my original students before I went down to Belize and did my thing down in Belize. And that student goes to a high school, which is, I used to recommend this high school. Like, if you want a good art school, this is where you go. Well, her dad came up with her. She's 16 now. Her dad came up with her and had a little talk to me. And one of the reasons she's come back, I mean, having been in art school, or being in art school, is the fact that the school does not teach them really any art at all. Yeah, I know it sounds crazy, doesn't it? I mean, how's that? Well, I asked him some more pointed questions, and he said, like, they just don't. It's not part of the curriculum anymore. And this art school was designed, I mean that, it was designed for kids who wanted to go into music and all the other disciplines, and it just isn't happening. They're even changing the name of the school from an art school to contemporary art. Huh? That's exactly my reaction was what? Just contemporary art? And he said, yeah, it's that bad. And he was quite concerned because this young woman obviously wants to have a career in art, and he doesn't seem to be able to get it. Not in high school. A high school dedicated to the arts. I'll be honest with you, I'm at a loss as to what's going on. To me, it's well, all I can say is I don't know. It's just crazy, me, and I don't know who's in charge, or who's making these decisions, or why, or why they're making these decisions. But it's a shame, really. Deciding here on what undergrad put in, like that. Anyway, yeah, it's an absolute. Oh, missed that over there. I don't know what the reason is, and I don't know why. And I guess if I could find out, if I dug deep enough. But you know what? There's nothing I can do about it. Decisions obviously have been made for whatever reasons. But you know, artwork. I mean, how can you imagine a world without artwork? I mean, any kind of artwork? I mean, what is with that? I mean, when it comes down to it, everything, everything we are was designed at some point in time by an artist. It could be designers, it could be, anything. I mean, over in North America, everybody loves European design stuff. We even have stores that are dedicated to that kind of design, which is like over here it's IKEA and places like that. And everybody loves the design. Well, who do you think's doing the designing? Yeah, you're right. It's an artist somewhere. So the question is, like, what are they doing? I mean, artists end up being sometimes engineers, designers, all sorts of different mediums and disciplines and whatnot. And what are they doing? They're saying, no, we don't want that. Have they sort of abdicated their, well, I'm talking Canada now, but have they abdicated their decision-making process to let somebody else design it? We'll just use European design or Japanese design? Or is that what's happened? What about our artists? There's such a concentration on arts, sciences, language, and whatnot. And don't get me wrong, I really and truly don't have anything bad to say about that, because you do need that. But the trouble is the art students, that's not where their heads are at. So what about them? I mean, sure, you want to get into that kind of stuff. There's room for everybody. That's what I think. But they don't seem to take that into consideration. Now, I know this problem's probably partly political. I mean, I'm not naive. But whoever is making the decisions is, in my opinion, really screwing up. And they're going to come to really regret it. Because, well, I think one of the problems is there just there isn't enough artists. I mean, I know we're only like 1% of the population. So I guess there's the group out there who says, well, why are we catering to artists if there's so few of them? That 1% that has artistic ability. Well, nobody said you had to cater to them, but you got to give them a spot. It's still a 1%. Give them something to strive for and go to school. Believe me, you won't be sorry. They'll come back to you 100 times over. That's not political consideration. And there's never going to be enough artists to say, artists unite, you know. Or now there are schools like in Oakville, outside Toronto. There is the Sheridan College, which is truly it's there for the arts. The trouble is the kids coming in, they don't have a base in art. So, I mean, yes, it gave them a lot more money because they've got courses like Introduction to Art and stuff like that, because none of the kids coming in have any training, so they've got a real problem on their hands. So they decided to make these kind of courses. But there was a time when, like Disney, Pixar, hires from Sheridan College. I mean, they're widely respected in the animation department, but you don't see that until you get into, well, it's not Sheridan College; it's a university now, apparently. So, but regardless, you don't see it, and that is a problem. And over the years, I mean, I have prepared dozens and dozens of students to get into architecture and animation, what to do. If you're out there and you're looking to get into animation, here's a hint. Don't bring any of your animated characters to the interview when you're trying to get in. Don't do it. They don't want to see that. That's what they're there to teach you. So they're not interested in that. If you're really interested in getting into those schools, then what you do is you go and take life drawing classes. That's what they really want to see. They want to see your eye, how good you are, how controlled you are, what you can do. They don't care about animated characters. I mean, I'm sure they look good, but that's what they're there to teach you. And frankly, you get behind the curve so quickly on that stuff. I can remember a time when they would come up to Sheridan College and hire them right out of class. The kids, the animation students. Just wasn't enough of it. And now that they do have software now that can kind of animate for you the movement of the character. So it's not so much the actual animating character, but what they want to see is fresh ideas. And in order to get to that point, you really and truly have to know how to draw. Again, I mentioned it last night, but I'll mention it again. If you want to see what I'm talking about, there's a group of books or I think it's a magazine, but they put it into a book. Anyway, they're called Scepter. Scepter. And Scepter is basically people who show you their creations. You might say, well, I don't want to see that. Well, those creations are what the animators are looking to see. They want fresh ideas. those fresh ideas animation. And the book is full of them. And there's multiple years books. In fact, maybe you can just Google it and just look Scepter. And you'll see what I'm talking about. Because those fresh ideas are what's needed. And it plays out, like it's no mistake, or it's no accident that, like graphic novels came to life and stuff. There's people who wanted to draw and write a story, a graphic novel. The Walking Dead, graphic novel. On and on and on. So it's worth looking at to see. You can even get into the book, I believe, if they like your work. And boy, that's a feather in your hat. Or looking to put something on a resume. But I think it comes down to that. There just isn't enough artists. There's no vocal group for artists. Yeah. March with me, I'm an artist. No, it doesn't happen that way. It just isn't enough. 1%. I think when I looked up the statistics one time, it was 1.8% of the population. But they threw in all the crafters in with that as well. So if you subtract that, I'm just saying that if you subtract the crafters off, you're probably not even 1% of it. And that's not a shot against crafters. There's nothing wrong with that. Crafters kind of make their jewelry and all that stuff. And they do some amazing work. And it's an art form. It really is. Having done some carving and whatnot, I know of what I speak. Got into that in Belize. I'd never really done it before. I ran into a guy whose name was Jason. He was, in my opinion, the most talented carver I have ever seen in my life. He only did Mayan kind of stuff, and jaguars and stuff like that. I have a few of his pieces. I bought them from him. And he truly was an outstanding talent. All self-taught. And I bought him some equipment for in Belize making life easy. And he gave me some really nice hints on how to did things. So I started doing a little bit. And I really enjoyed it. I really did. And I plan to do some more. Not right now, but I do plan to do some. Being that just doing art takes so much time, my time. frankly, I love doing it. So happy camper. As I said, it's is strange. Now, anyway, here we are getting an underpainting in here. I'm just following my notes on this. I want the under area darkened. You see that? Yeah, okay. See it? Being a little careful because it's pretty dark. It's called cool gray, but it's dark. We call it cool and dark gray. So the whole idea behind this is that when you put your colored pencil on top of it, you've already established a first layer. That's what you've done. No mystery here. That's what that's what this technique kind of does for you. And because it soaks right into the paper, you haven't changed the paper, so to speak. The paper is completely in acceptance of colored pencil because you haven't done anything to it. All you've done is bury a little bit of ink into it, marker ink. So when you start off, you're already starting off at that layer, and that layer makes all the difference in the world. It really does. Because you don't have to layer to it, so you can get the colors you want. You get more layers on. If you get more layers on, then you'll have a richer painting when you're done. And all I can say is, well, look at Loki. Really, that doesn't do it for you. I give up. And one thing you never do when you're an artist is give up. There's always a way. Always. Let me find the way. I want to do a very light green. Well, there's pastel green. The reason I'm putting a light green on it is because this armor sort of lends itself to got a little bit of a green tinge to it, kind of like Loki had. And armor refracts color. You do tend to see a bit of green in it, and some yellows. And it really and truly does Makes the armor more exciting. Only place you really wouldn't use it if you get some really, really high gloss type of armor. You know, if you're in that, then high gloss in terms of you know, like shiny stainless steel or something. You wouldn't necessarily be. But everything else, yeah, especially in this kind of rendering. And the trick to it is you don't really see the green except where you want. It just gives that color that nobody really can see, but it just gives the feeling of the color. And that's because it's there, but your eye really and truly doesn't pick it up. It just knows that it's right, and it makes it look richer. That's the key. People's eyes tell your brain that they're looking at something really, really cool. Then you've won the game. Certainly have. No question about it. And that is coming out really nice. That this is a good color for this. Really good color. I would suggest if you're new at this, really testing out the colors first. Because they dry lighter, than what they go on as. So if you're relying on as they first go down, just use a little test strip or test sheet and just give it a try first. Till you get really familiar with the colors, and then you have no problem at all. And if there's some incredibly special color, like when I'm doing portraits or something, and I want to get a really neat undercut or a color or whatever, often I'll go to my Copic markers and get one of their mixes because I want to mix something up. But by and large, you don't need to go to that extent. Unless you want. I mean, if you got Copic markers and you're dying to use them, use them. Really. Go ahead. If you don't have a budget, then just use Copics. I don't use them here because the people who are watching this, I don't know what their economic status is. So I want to show them how they can do this without breaking the bank. Because I don't know about you, but when I was an art student, money was hard to come by. I mean, let's face it. And so I designed these lessons so I wouldn't be using products. And there's nothing wrong with their products. Don't get me wrong. I'm just showing you what you could do, not using the product that is more expensive. But needless to say, if you feel you want to use your Copic or Prismacolor markers on this stuff, you go right ahead. I have no problem with that at all. too heavy. Well, what I'm going to do in this area is I'm just going to put down some Indian blue. God knows what that is. I haven't used this color. Yeah, it's blue. Yeah, it's a good blue. Okay. Again, I'm not as familiar with these pastel manga colors as I am with regular ones. Something. And no, I didn't test it out. And why I'm not following my own advice? Well, it doesn't really. I can adjust things as so it's no big deal. But if you're starting out, test it. That's what I'm saying. Because you may not know what the fix is, or there has to be a fix, right? There has to be. You don't go 3/4 way through the drawing and then find out that there's a mistake, or you did something really wrong, and you don't know how to get your way out of the problem. Which I would guess is like 90% of all artists who are learning. Oh my God, what if I make a mistake? So what? Worry about it. One of my students I'm shepherding through Sheridan College, I was telling you about. Got a call over Christmas. The kid was the kid was on a cruise. You can believe what. He texts me, oh my God, what am I gonna do with this? And like, I got exams coming out when I get back. I haven't done this, and what do I do? And you know, I don't blame the kid at all. Truly, not at all. Here's a kid who his artistic light shone later in his um his art life, and he brought up some stuff to me that I never even thought about. And for that I'm kind of thankful, because if I hadn't mentioned it, I would have never thought about it. Anyway, what he said to me was, nobody ever told me how to use a brush. And then I'm thinking about that, going, how did you learn how to use a brush? I'm asking myself. Jesus, I don't know. I had to really think back. And yeah, I did get taught how to use a brush. It's so long ago, that's why I'd forgotten. It was from my private art teacher that my mother paid for many, many moons ago. And yeah, he taught me how to use all the different brushes. But if he hadn't said that, I would have never, ever thought about it. But he's right. He was totally right. How do you expect him to know how to do it if he's never used a brush? And he complained to me, the instructor in the class assumes they can use a brush. He hasn't got a clue. How do you use a brush? Well, you use brushes for different things, obviously. There's brushes you use for watercolor. There's brushes you use for paint, for oil painting. There's brushes used for, well, similar to acrylic painting, but that being said, yes, you use different brushes. So I stopped laughing and I said, okay, I'm going to show you. And away we go. It was right. Which underlies the frustration. Who teaches you to use a brush? Artist teaches you. Well, if there's nobody to teach you, how do you learn? Answer? You don't. Which is exactly what his point was. I don't know how to do acrylic because I don't know how to use the brush. Yeah. Valid point. This. The trouble is really with art, it's accumulated knowledge. And you don't realize it, accumulated knowledge, until you try to explain it. And what I mean by that is, and when I used to have my art academy, there was a standard kind of a thing I would have the new students do. And it was an eye, like a human eye. And I did this, and I thought, you know, they only do it when they're with me because they're afraid to make a mistake because it's the best eye they've ever drawn. They don't want to wreck it. That's what the consensus was anyway. Anyway, so what happened is that I thought, well, here's an idea. I'll sit down and I'll write it out, all the instructions. Holy Moses. At page 30, I just threw it away and said, it's just not possible. I mean, it's possible, just the basics, obviously. But I'm talking about a human eye, and to bring it right up to like finish. I just gave. Just not possible. Not to the finished product. Then I thought, well, maybe I'll just do it to certain. No? Certain. Vivid red, yes. Here we go. Yeah, I know there's a fine tip and a broad tip. It's kind of like gambling, yeah. I give it a shot. What happens? I picked the wrong end. Eyes are gonna go. Okay. And I think that will call it for the now, as you can see when I was putting it on, how bright it was. Now you can see that it's off. Or I put it down and let it dry, just how light it is. See? The undercoating is there. So like as I said, I think what we'll do is we'll start over here on this this piece, and we're going to make it gold. Yes, we are. We are going to make it gold. So the first thing I want to do is get some of the shadow. I'm going to start off with a burnt ochre, which is more of a sienna color, to be honest with you, but they call it burnt ochre, and it's number 943. And then I'm going to put a little bit of this down. Again, lightly keyed. I will guarantee you, when I'm done with this, it will look gold. I'm putting a light coat Prismacolor down here. You can really see here the value of putting down a first coat in marker. Because I'm getting two different tones here. In the parts of here I'm getting three. And I've only used some sienna. Well, burnt ochre, but it's sienna. That's what it is. I'm getting that gradation there, really without much effort at all. And that's because I have the two colors underneath, which are the marker. Now I'm going to go into a yellow. Oh, that is a yellow ochre. Okay, they made it right. 942. I go and get some ochre in it. Vote down. Again, please, lightly if you're doing this at home. By the way, if you run into problems and you're doing one of these at home, because the whole lessons are available from start to finish, just drop me a line if you run into a problem. Because I'm not although I give every step that I think, I might have missed something. You never know. Look how bright the ochre is. See that on top of the yellow of the marker? You see that? Yeah. Oh, mama, that is love. See, I'm getting it in one pass. Now, needless to say, you can do this without the underpainting, but you're not going to get it in one pass. I'll tell you that right now. And I don't mean pulling the gold out of the box and saying, okay, it says gold on it, so I'm going to do gold. I don't mean that. I know it's funny, but I was asked that question. No, that's not what I mean. This is making it look gold, not the gold out of the box. I mean, really. I want to get over. No, that's espresso. I swear I'm going to throw that. Now, what I'm going to do here is gold. Gold is yellow. Oh, no, hold on. Before I go to that. Sorry. Before I go to that, I'm going to get my trusty sunburst yellow out, which is 917. Drop a little bit on top of the ochre. that feels, that waxy smooth. Like it screams at you, blend me, blend me. And I have a brand new set of polychrome sitting over here. I'm going to do a small section on so you can see the difference. They do blend perfectly with Prisma, so I will pull them out and use them. So that's what I promised, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm keeping my promise. Most definitely keeping my promise. Now we go into a gray here. Again, I pick up Espresso. That's it. Espresso's going over there, so let's see if the seating. The barrel is the wrong color. It looks gray. Why they did that, I don't know. But they did. I'm going to go in from the other side. I'm going to clean up the edge of the line. Get the shadow in of the gold. Just tickle it into the light. So it's not such a distinct one. There we go. Let's see. Now these kind of one fills into another type of things. I'm going to put that in. Actually, this goes. Yeah. It's quite dark. Gray. I know I sound like I'm mumbling to myself, but I'm working out the colors. Just bear with me. As I said, I promise it will look like gold when I'm done. Too bad you can't draw it. Through it, you can't get it. Wouldn't that be nice? People could draw gold. Would be the most valuable people on the planet. Get that guy who draws gold. Yes, sir. Getting a little low. I need a few billion bars of it or wherever. How much would you like him to draw, sir? All that glitters. Gold is a remarkable element, though. If you've ever had a chance to look at it, in terms of its properties, man alive, it is unbelievable. You can pound it so thin. I think I can't remember exactly how much it was, but something like an ounce of it you can cover like a football field. You can pound it that thin. And you know, anybody who's ever done gold leafing, they'll know what I'm talking about. It's just incredible. It really is. It's just because when you leaf, the edges are like the little bits are so thin. that, not that I've done a lot of leafing, I gotta tell you, but I've done it over the years a few times. And really, you gotta use static electricity to kind of get it one sheet to another. The Egyptians were really, when you see a tomb, you see everything's made of gold. Well, it's not really. It's leafed. That green coming through right there. Right there. Yeah, all that stuff, like chairs and furniture and everything you could possibly think of. Even the bloody caskets were leaf gold. Not the pharaoh, obviously. That was solid gold, but all leafed, and rightly so. Because a little went a long way. And but you also got to remember how much gold there is in the world. And if I tell you this, the first thing you're going to say is, "Now that can't be right." He usually steers me right, but I think he's wrong on that one. Okay. Anyway, I'll tell you what it is. Then you can go look it up, and you can see how much gold there is. So let's go to as long as humans have been using gold. How long is that? Well, it's a long time. I'll tell you that. And all the gold, now I'm talking pure 24 karat gold, all the gold that's ever been mined would fill approximately 3 Olympic swimming pools. So what do you think? Is that a scary statistic? That's all the gold there's ever been. I'm not kidding. Go look it up. And that's why gold gains its value. Sure, it goes up and down, fluctuates here and there, but it's always been valuable. Now, silver is the one part that is the amazing stuff. Because silver always was a ratio. I can't remember off the top of my head what the but silver as a ratio to the value of gold was always a certain amount. And in the 1980s or 70s, two brothers in Texas, the Hunt brothers, which was the Hunt oil fortune, well, they tried to corner the market in the world of silver. Silver at the time went up to a really high price. And then the market fell out. And it became really base metal price, almost. And it never really retained its historic value against gold. Now, there's guys who'll say, yeah, it's coming back. Silver's coming back. And I've been hearing this for like 40 years. Well, you know what? It hasn't come back. Why that is, I don't know. I mean, gold was always a valuable commodity. I mean, really, it was very valuable. Pieces of 8, like pirate treasure, and gold and silver. Well, gold isn't anywhere, or silver isn't even a fraction of what gold is worth. So why is that? Volume of silver in the world isn't that much different. Gold. Why? I've never found out. Now, I've never really looked. I've got to admit to you, never really looked and decided if there's a reason or found out if there was a reason. But it is mysterious why it didn't regain its value. Now, that being said, don't run out and buy a ton of silver, because I've been saying this for a long time. Don't do it, because you're going to lose your shirt. But it's an odd statistic. I think, anyway. Why? Must be a reason. But what that reason is, I have lightly put it. Putting it lightly because I'm going to blend the paper. Get the movement from dark to light. Oh, and let's see. Darker yellow. Spanish orange. Okay. That's not color I'm looking for. Salmon pink. Not really orange. Gives me a highlight on the yellowy part. So I'm blending the color into it. Transition color. Then you won't. Tone. Move towards gold. Then I'm going to go to the trusty cream color. And get some highlights going. Keep forgetting to bring my pencil extenders over, where I do my regular artwork, portraits and such. And it eliminates this problem with a shorter pencil instantly. But I don't want to go and change all the colors out. Going over portrait on the go. but I'm going to get some, most definitely. You can never have enough of the black. Why? Because colored pencil wear down. They wear down. Gotta make them longer so it doesn't go into your yellow down first. Brighter, darker orange, if you recall. I mentioned the salmon pink. Okay, now you see why I used it. See the color I'm getting there? Sometimes bright gold will reflect a little bit of red. That's where the salmon pink comes in. And it's a good color to play with when you're playing with gold. Who doesn't like to draw gold? Explain to me. The topic tonight. Yeah, I'm one of those people. Have you ever heard of the website Quora? Anybody? Well, if you haven't, I'll just briefly explain it. There's a website called Quora, and what it's designed for is people ask questions, and you get people who have expertise in certain field or whatever, and they respond to the questions and they write out their questions, or they write out their answers. And then they post the answers to the question. And the more you do this, the more followers you get. So if you got a question about anything, really, it makes no difference. If you've got a level of some sort of expertise, or you know a lot about a subject, whatever, you can, I don't know, I can't remember what the moderation thing is, but to become like an answer giver. But there's some sort of thing anyway, so at least you kind of know if you're getting an answer. First, yes, they'll take an answer and they'll review it. I don't know how they do that, but they do, and then they let it stand. So it kind of filters out people who are just crazy. You know, like, how do they build the pyramids? Oh, these aliens came down, you know, that kind of stuff, you know. So, but if you do happen to look at it, it's extremely interesting because you put down your area of expertise and you answer the questions that people pose to you. Simple as that. That's all there is to it. And then other people who are in Quora, they vote your answer up or down. If they think you really gave a great answer, then you'll get tons and tons of people. Anyway, I've been doing it for a while, since I was in Belize anyway. And I don't know, I think I forgot at Christmas time they sent me an email. There was like 50,000 or 100,000 people that read my answers and voted it up. And you don't get anything for it, by the way. This is all free. If there's no cost to join or anything like that. But it's extremely interesting because there's a lot of stuff you find out, from people who have expertise in other areas. And I highly recommend it, to be honest with you. Not just me, I mean just in general. You're looking to get answers to. But some of the questions. Oh, by the way, too, if you do join up to be a person who has some expertise and questions answered or asked that you think is just nuts, you can pass on it. So you don't have to answer any. If you don't want to answer, you don't have to answer. That's what I'm trying to say. So, I think it's well worth it if you want to take a look and get information. But it's up to you how much you use it or how much you don't. Up to you. So it's all voluntary. And sometimes the questions are, like I had a question the other day. The question was, who won the Second World War? Holy Moses. Talk about complicated question. I'm sorry, that wasn't the question. The question was, did the U.S. win the Second World War? Well, the answer is yes and no. So how do you answer that? How? Do you say, well, yeah, but they had a little bit of help? Or do you say, no, they just supplied stuff to the Allies, which wasn't true, obviously. I mean, they certainly had people, soldiers fighting in the Second World War. So in other words, it's a difficult, you can get a simple question, but a difficult answer. So anyway, I decided to answer it. And the answer got longer and longer and longer. And became, oh, that's a little bit darker. Oh, it's 20%. Thought I was grabbing 10%. Sorry about that. Oh well. Percent go. Cream. Now, some will be in the middle of. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, and go to the colorless blender. And get a full blend on a lot of stuff before I lay any more color down on it. And the colorless blender is simply the binder, which is the wax, without any color in it. So it'll mix the colors that you already have put down. The also trick to the blender is, like for instance, along this area here I'm doing, along here, push it out the way you want the shadow to go. Like push out, not in. That way the color gets spread out, not. Okay? Maybe you not can see because I'm moving pretty fast here. But that's how you do it. Gives you really even. Which is why I use Prisma. Yes, that is the reason. It blends so beautifully. All the color that I laid down now being blended into tones on the horn here in order that I get the gold color I'm looking for. If you saw what I just did there, that's a little technique. You pick up a little bit of the dark and you fire it into where you want to put in a little bit of, well, say on the gold there's a little bit, bang, it's dented a little bit or something. It gives it a more realistic. Adjust your highlights for. Okay, now brush this off. Get all the debris field off of it. And what you can see is the base for the gold. Now, I'm going to go into it towards the final highlights for it. Final high will build it to a crescendo around through here. I'm going to change the highlight I did. Also, I also noticed, I don't know, it's long. Why did some other my fellow Twitchites are going live. Doing here? Holy moly! Believe it. I tell you, when you're doing art, time just seems to not stand still. It seems to just fly. It seems like 5 minutes ago I started. God. Holy moly. Well, doesn't matter. I said this horn was getting done, and I mean it. Toning that back a little bit. Here, 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 and why you may ask is because it's gold, but it's in shadow. I want it bright, but I don't want it glistening. Because if it's glistening, it has to be higher if it's in shadow. It has to be sticking out or something like that. Otherwise, why is it glistening? There we go, and you notice now it's starting to get more gold, 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 more gold, more gold. Okay, now. Found it. My 10% gray. Now, before I put in white, I usually put in 10% gray. Because it leaves you one last pass before you get to your brightest color. So that's 10% gray, which is 1068. And it's a very handy color to have. It does a nice job of blending. It also does a nice job of highlighting. It's a really good color. And usually against other color, it can almost look white, even if it isn't. So I've got a point is sticking up here, so I want it kind of bright, bright, bright. But not quite so bright down here. So the 10% will give me that. So when I go to the white, I'll get it. You see what I'm talking about? It gives you, oh, John D, how are you tonight? We've started up our new guy, which is Ares, God of War. I'm getting his gold horn here rendered. I pop him through. And I can take a little bit off too, off the dark. Because you see, you've got gray, so you've got gray, darker gray down below it. So you can lift that gray up a bit simply by putting the 10% gray over top. But now you're say if you've got 40% gray down, you get 10%. Well, now you're moving from 10 into 40, so you got like a 30% transition. That makes sense. Gives you an easier transition, because remember, we're talking about transitions. This stuff of beaten gold, you don't have the gold spikes or something like that. This is horn, so it's round, so you want to get that round look going in. And by God, it better start looking like gold, because if it's not looking like gold, I got trouble, but it is. It is. Now I'm going to go back into that orange again. I'm going to put a little bit of that orange onto this highlight here, because it is in shadow. But it highlights yellow orange. So I've got cream, a little bit of this to it. And that will make it more real. One thing you do not want to do, that's have the gods of war mad at you. Loki, you have a little bit of leeway, but gods of war, not a hope. So I got a bit of orange down, now I want to yellow them down a bit, more of a gold tone. Spanish orange going in on top of it. Which will give me it's all about different light. Your eye hitting it and going, oh yeah, I can see it. That's really what it's about. And even this shadow here is too dark. It's too much in the light. But drop it back a little bit. I said I'm going to drop it back a little. Because it's a plate, I can just get the Spanish orange just on the side of it. So it looks like it's sort of got a bit of shadow from that on it. That is what you're looking for. There we go. Okay. Now, I'm going to highlight. Give me a minute. Contemplate this. Lift it up so you can see where I'm at right there. All the colors that are mixing. You know what? Before we do the white, just got an idea. Put the darks in. And I'm going to do that because it will play off of the light. So I'm not just willy-nilly just putting all the darks in. I'm just putting them in strategically. And this will tighten up the drawing too. I'm going on each side here, as you can see, but not so much in the middle. And you can see or it's tightening it up. That is. Now you want to emphasize the gold. You can already see how that worked. So you want to emphasize the gold. So what you do is, where you didn't put all of your black, or whatever you're using for black, Payne's gray, or whatever, then you can put in a little bit of blue onto it, because then that'll cool down your black. So it's now your eye says, oh, that has to be in shadow, because look, it's cool. That's what you do. That's how you do it. Now, I did that, and that one blue I used, nice base, but I'm just going to put a little high. This is highlight in the dark. If you can, okay. I know you're saying, this guy crazy? I mean, highlight in the dark? It does sound crazy, but it isn't. It's simply that you're simply just, I know it does sound crazy. He's highlighting in his dark. But really it is, it's the way you do it. I've established some darks here. Now I want it, now even though this isn't dark, I still want to show that there's some light in it in terms of gold. I'm going to go back into the yellow ochre and transition a little bit on the side of this highlight here, the ochre. And the ochre gives off a little yellow tinge. And what that tells the eye is that, oh yeah, it's gold, it's just that it's in real deep shadow. And that's why I didn't go over that part with black. See that? That is how you do it. Now you've got transition from the dark to the gold. What is gold and dark? It's dark. But if there's just the teeniest little bit of light, I mean the teeniest little bit of light, it will come up a little bit of gold. Just to see, this is a bit of experiment here, just to see if I can put a little bit more on this. Yep, just a little bit more. Transitioned them. Then I'm going to go back into the sienna, because gold sometimes looks brown and has a brownish tinge in shadow. Throw a little bit of that reddish brown into it. And I've got it in shadow, but it's transitioning. Gives you an even cooler look. I've got to tell you, if you're doing this with paint, it's a pain in the butt. You're going to have to kind of wait until certain layers dry to get the right glazing down. With pencil crayon, you're there. You can do it pretty easy with acrylic, I got to tell you that. But with oil paint, no. You got to take your time. Gotta do it right. Won't get the effect. Watercolors, it's really kind of easy to dry so fast. Layer colors down. Okay, so now I'm going for broke. I'm going to go up now. I've got no white on it at all. Now I'm going to get really brighter highlights in where the lights hit. And you can play some games with this too. Like in other words, you do a little bit along where the plates actually. Now you see you have your options, right? Because the options simply are that you didn't use your white right away. You used it the last. White will show you the brightest. Oh yeah, look at it come now. Okay. Need I say more? See it? See how bright it's looking? Like it's just glistening? Look at that. Can you see that? Can you see that, how it's coming along? Oh yeah. A little bit of light on. Just a bit, not a lot. And catches there. And over here, maybe just a spot or two for the chink in the armor, whatnot. See that? Oh, like I said, gold is fun to draw. And if you get carried away and you get too much on or something, don't sweat it. You just have to kick it back. That's not a big deal. I went over this with the light yellow. Cream, I should say. No, right through here. Right through here. There we go. In with my black. Very fine tipped. Again, really sharp line. And when doing that, I adjust my white. If it's too thick or too thin or problem. And there really isn't any problem doing it here. Right up again. This is moving in dark colors. I'm going to leave it. Let me move the light down a bit. Better put that on. Put it. Now this is the second brightest one, not the brightest one. And remember I said that there's a little bit of red in the gold? Just a little bit of the red. What you do is you just take finest little bit. I'm really holding this pencil lightly. See that? You just kind of go through the area. Just give it that little bit of reddish color. Very light touch here. Not heavy duty. Lots of strokes, light touch. You're just kind of just tickling in a little bit. Color gives you more of a realistic look on your gold. Man, I love painting gold. So much fun. How much fun can you have? Drawings covered in gold. I have a blast. Or it's not gold, it's silver. Man, I love this character. Send him a Christmas card or something. It hit. Just like on the Loki. You know, bear in mind too that you're not done with your highlighting. You're not. This is This is your first pass you're highlighting. So you're going to have more. But you don't have to go nuts. That's why this technique works so well. You don't have to go crazy and say, oh, okay, no, it's got to have it perfect. It's going to be right. No, you don't. You don't have to have that because you're going to put more. You're going to have more colors to put on, and those extra colors will be look and you shall find. As I contrast now against the whites, even get it more. Now, if you're doing this and you don't get it your first pass, or you're not happy with it, don't give up. I mean, you just don't wake up one day and say, I'm drawing gold. It takes a little bit of time. I mean, look, it's taken me for 2 hours just to get this little horn done. But again, I'm working out all the colors and what I'm going to do and how. Once it's all worked out, that's how you're going to do the rest of the drawing in different variations of it. But that's the artistic process, and that's exactly what you're supposed to do. Because not everything is exactly the same. It just isn't. You got to work it out. What art is. Even if you know how to do it. Never drawn it before. You got to work it out. I've never drawn this guy before. So what am I doing? Working it out. No, this line. Right. I also know that I'm not finished with my highlights. So I'm working it out. Let's give it a little bit of a brush here now. If I had the brush, it's the same color as I just grabbed. Okay. Punchy, okay. Again, this is very light. Okay? Very light. Lots of strokes, no pressure. You get away with this stuff because you're using wax. Very few mediums are this forgiving. I want to go in just a little, very, very thin line. Brown differentiates this scheme of gold here. Little scheme of gold. Should. Now here's a little artist trick for you. Just a little artist trick. I've got sky blue light, 1086. I'm going to put a little bit of sky blue light in places, which really and truly gives you reflected white without picking up a lot of the other color. It works. I want to put a ton in. Just want to put a little bit in. But it makes your highlight build brighter. You can see the magic happening right here. You can see how, because it's not white, it makes the whites that I put down even brighter. That's the key. And that, my friends, is almost done. There's my book. Which is 918. Just a little, and a little. Here it goes. Now I'm kind of following some themes of gold. Or even though it's beaten, it might not be beaten perfectly flat. And that'll give me color depth. Well, except for some scuffing up. Try to adjust the light so you better. Because you're not quite seeing the actual, seeing the layer of. See if I open this up a bit. See it. Even though these are high resolution cameras, not eyesight, You all know. Anyway, it is gold. So as it gets more gold and I contrast around it, it'll even become, well, it'll become even more gold. That's what'll happen. Because it's all contrast. And it's very gold from where I'm sitting right here. I mean, it's like shiny, shiny, shiny gold. Just exactly what I wanted. I'll put one last pass of the absolute brightest. Can get those. I was going to, but no, I can't. Maybe, maybe, maybe. See, because beaten gold has always got a little bit hills and valleys in it. But it's so thin, whatever's underneath it pops right up. Anyhow, folks, that is it for tonight. We will continue on. I think the next thing I'm going to do is down here tomorrow night and get into this section here, which is the horn underneath. Get all that done, and then I want some of the darks to play against. Right now it's sitting by itself. And what I've done is I've contrasted against like what I know the color is coming. So it's standing alone, and if you're going to make a stand alone, you should put background in and all that stuff. But I want to do that because the rest of the pictures will be coming along, which is this through here and all that stuff. And then boom, it'll just, wowza. It looks really good right now, but I'll be honest with you, I think you can see the toning on the gold on the horn on the screen that I'm looking at. But in saying that, I've got a lot more toning down here than you're picking up, and that's because you can't see the contrast yet. But that's okay. Let's come along. First horn, gold as I can make it, and it looks good. And it is going to sit here in front of the camera till tomorrow night. Maybe if I lift it up, you can see more. Ah, yeah, now you can see a bit more of it. You see that? See the tones in it? That's what I'm talking about. Trying to get back right light on. You see the scuffing on the third piece down on the light highlights and stuff? That's what you can't see from the camera down to it. But you will see it all when I get the skull head in and the rest of the helmet and that other piece of horn that's down below. That's a cool piece. Fun, fun, fun. Anyway, folks, I'm going to leave it at that for tonight. Thank you for watching. It was a pleasure. And I will see you tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, as soon as I find my mouse. Have a pleasant evening. Nice Sunday to you. I'll see you on the 22nd. Gosh, it's 22nd already. Okay, January's dying on us as we speak, but art must go. Anyway, have a good evening. I'll see you tomorrow night.